Hey, welcome back to Live Bold and Boss Up podcast. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts for listening in. We love you guys. I love, by the way, catching y'all in person or online and hearing that you're listening and you're enjoying the episodes. We love that feedback. Please keep it coming because then we'll know what information, right, to have on the podcast and to share with you guys. So thank you for all of that. Today, we chat with Dr. Gary Montoute. We chatted with him actually in our 38th episode. Now it's our 138th episode, 100 episodes later.
And a lot's changed.
A lot's changed. He's got his doctorate degree now, and he's really actually inspiring, right? He's constantly working on himself and improving. And it's just a nice reminder or kick in the butt sometimes for some of you and I know I need it sometimes too, that we just kind of get a little lazy and we're like, okay, we need to pick it up. Right.
I don't think Dr. Gary sleeps at all.
Right. True.
But this is a fun episode because not only do we talk about leadership and the different types of leadership and turnaround leadership, which he is working on now and tells us more about, but we also have some fun surprises at the end, some fun questions, and then another fun thing that Dr. Gary's been working on.
Yeah, we have a beautiful surprise at the end. So definitely listen the whole way through. We hope you like it. If you don't like it, hey, let me know. I mean,
I'm sure you will.
I'm sure you will. That's fun. Also, we want to share with you guys, we're recording today at The Wave. Thank you to The Wave for having us here. And also thank you so much to DCE Productions for doing our audio recording. We really appreciate you guys. You make it so easy and seamless. And of course, thanks to our Next Path career partners. We love you.
All right. Welcome back, Dr. Gary Montoute.
Thank you.
So for those of you that have listened to us in the past, episode 38 in 2021, almost 100 episodes later, we had Gary on, and that was an awesome conversation, but a lot has changed since then. So we want to catch up. And then now you're a doctor. You weren't a doctor when we last spoke with you. So what's been going on? What's new?
Well, again, thanks, Stephanie and Ashley, for having me here again. 2021, middle of COVID, right? So doing a lot of pivoting since then, trying to stay engaged, right? Stay engaged with what's going on in the community. We learn a lot more about self-help, self-care. We became a lot more open to speaking on things. So since then, actually this show really helped me being able to express a lot of things, right? I got my MBA that year and then decided that wasn't enough, right? So I went and I did my doctorate in healthcare administration, right? And so that's the field I'm in. I'm in the healthcare field right now. So, and since then as well, because of mentoring and leadership, I've been doing for a while and being a coach for different teams, whether it be soccer or martial arts teams all over the world and having teams globally. I took on a couple of clients on the side to be able to start exploring that executive coaching, leadership and mentoring space.
I love that. I love how you just have such a hunger for learning more and doing more, and it's like you can always be better and just better yourself, and I love that about you.
Seriously, I'm really hoping that it rubs off on me. I have that motivation to keep doing more and learning more.
Well, look at it. This was when I first met you guys. It was what I knew for a while, right? But the whole program, that was episode 38, right? So this is 100, almost 100 episodes later. Right. So obviously something has rubbed off, right? That's what you guys keep doing. But seriously, having been around the world for so long and for so many different and met so many different people and sometimes they don't have all the opportunities, maybe because of the absence of the specific leadership they need, right? Or mentorship they need. They stay where they are. I think that's it. I was born in New Jersey, like I said in the past, and I grew up in the island of Trinidad. But I came over here when I was 20 and went to USF, right?
Go Bulls.
Right. And you learn a lot. Back then, there was no football team. It was a very, very small, tight minority group, right, of different ethnicities. And we had the best street dances with reggae and zouk and different music and stuff like that. But when I left, it became a really, really, really a good uh, mix of different people, cultures, education. So it really, really is a great place actually for education. But I had to go find things. I had to go find things at USF. I was an engineering major, but I love dance and I love art and I love theater. So those are my electives, right? Just to be more engaged with those people.
Wow. I feel like it makes you more well-rounded whenever you're not just focused on one specific thing. What would you tell someone that maybe they're thinking about going and getting their MBA or their doctorate or furthering their education, but they're questioning, like, do I need that for my job, or is it going to be worth it in the long run? Like, what advice would you give them?
Great question. Actually, most jobs don't need it at all, right? Because of the experience that I bring to the table in different teams, Fortune 100, Fortune 50, Fortune 500 companies I worked for, I did not need an MBA. I did not need a doctorate at all. But what it did for me was open up, the formal educational part of it. So you know all these different things, strategic thinking, design thinking. But then you go into class and meet people from all over the world with the way they have the online platform now. You go and you meet all these folks from all over the world, and they have different perspectives you've never heard of before. So to me, that was the benefit of doing the MBA. That was the benefit of doing the doctorate, of meeting people, like-minded people, that the people out of there, out of Florida, out of the US, that think like you or do not think like you, but they cherish and value, who you are. So there's a formal education part of going through, the MBA or the doctorate, but there's the part of meeting people and connecting, right? That was the with the doctorate in particular, we have what was called accountability groups, and all the job of those teams were to make sure you got your work done, because many times you wanted to quit. Many times you're like, really, I did all this schooling, I have these 2 classes, really have to do this. And so you learn about that accountability, and you have that in a lot of different areas at work. You have mentors, and so we're practicing and learning how to do that. Part of the healthcare administration was about strategic leadership as well. That was a big focus of it as well, to be able to come out there and now make that change as you go back out into the world.
I think everyone needs accountability partners.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. What I was wondering while you're chatting about, connecting with all of these different people all over the world for your doctorate, did you learn something from them just while you were in there chatting with them, casual conversation? What was like the main thing that you learned?
I think the biggest thing was that we all had that same drive. We all had that same drive that this is it. We are not going back to school after this, right? This is it. Somewhere in education, somewhere in healthcare fields, somewhere in the military, defense force. But we just realized that a lot of us, it was a HBCU, a historically Black college university. And so we realized that, this is the pinnacle of education, right? We represent, 1% of people having this degree. So the common ground was really, we want to get to that goal, get to that finish line together, right? Also make a difference. The biggest thing I came out of it was we all wanted to close the gap in education. There's a lot of disparities in education, right? We studied the US and we saw the disparities of STEM and different things like that. Also, being in healthcare, there was a lot of disparity in healthcare. When depending on the group, the demographic that goes into the hospital, depending on the hospital, we saw the disparities of how they were treated and different things like that. So we wanted to make that difference. So the common ground was making that difference, holding each other accountable to the finish line, as well as, something you should be proud about. Your kids should be proud about, your family should be proud about. I know my family was very, very, very happy about it. Oh, we have the first doctor, and this just to say that it may not be a medical doctor, but it's still a doctor regardless, right? And so that was the common. But also we had our nuances, right? You had nuances, people depending on the country had to have class on Saturday and it was maybe midnight over there in that country. So if someone didn't turn their thing in on time, how did you address that? Now you're professional, so you really can't be like in the college days and really him and her, right? You have to like call the person, are you okay? You need help. And we had someone who had gotten in an accident, child got sick, and we just rallied around the person and made sure they finish as well.
Do you still keep in touch with these people?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's awesome.
In fact, every time I share your program with them, some of them are subscribers to this program. We stay in touch. Some have moved to different areas, and then we reach out if they're going to go look for a new job. We do like a lot of mentoring in terms of the mock interviewing. Look at my resume type of thing, because we did that for every final. We like sent our papers across each other to verify, hey, did I cover everything, different things like that. So absolutely stay in contact.
Yeah, I love that. Switching gears a little bit, you do coaching on transformational leadership. Tell it, like, what is transformational leadership?
So it's actually turnaround leadership, right?
Turnaround.
No, that's right. It's turnaround leadership. So one of the things I started was a newsletter on LinkedIn around turnaround leadership. And turnaround leadership is really a mixture of transformational leadership, transactional leadership, and I tend to have a lot of servant leadership in it. But let me just run that down really quickly. So transformational is more, motivational, inspirational type leadership, right? You believe in your leader, they bring you along, they share the vision. It's very, very, very collaborative, right? And we have a North Star, we know where we're going. And you're involved, you know your team, you know your departments. The transactional leadership is more, I say it like this, it's like rewards and ramifications, right? You do what you need to do, you're rewarded. You don't, you'll be shown the door probably eventually, right? That's more transactional. So it's more of a performance culture, you would see that. And then you have servant leadership, whereby you put the needs of others before yourself. And so that's something that it's been me throughout, even in coaching, right? The servant leadership looks to see who is probably the weakest area or who has the most opportunity, and you bring them up. You strengthen your bench regardless, and so that you move together as a unit. And you always look for opportunities where you could stretch where they are. And the turnaround leadership that came out of studying my doctorate. We were studying Dr. Martin Luther King, right, and his crosses over the bridges into Selma. And one particular crossing, he didn't fully cross. He stopped. He knelt down. Nobody knew what he did, but he turned around. And the conversation goes like this: what if he continued? Would he have been shot at that time along with other people? Right. So sometimes as a leader, you're trying to get to that goal. You're trying to hit that North Star, and you have to know when to stop and when to step back, when to listen, to learn as well. And so I told my professor, I said, I think he stopped and prayed. And I think he received some type of wisdom that says, not today. And some people were like, oh, let's go. Let's continue moving forward. But he was the leader, so you have to listen to him. And sometimes you find that in business, people want to do something and the leader disagrees and so forth. So for me, turnaround leadership is really encompassing all of those facets, right? I would always rather manage up than to manage out. So I always like to give opportunities for people to succeed, to be successful, and move. Maybe this is not the opportunity for you. Maybe it's something else, and I will try to connect that. And if not, it becomes transactional. There are ramifications. So,
are there certain signs that leaders should be aware of? Like, okay, now I need to turn around and wait, or is it more of a gut feeling?
There's the gut. There's absolutely the gut, but I tend to believe, in terms of listen to your team, right? There's a saying that says, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are, right? So if you have a good team that's willing to give you real-time feedback, then you could go to the team and ask. So I do that a lot with my teams, for example. I would share what the vision is, make sure they can connect with the vision, the organization, the department, and then I would allow them to vent where they are, the challenges they were with connecting, and I would try to get the answers, or based on my experience, try to help them along, right? And sometimes they give you a perspective that maybe certain leadership were not thinking about that. So I try to make sure I have those connections. I could foster that to keep coming towards me and share it with upper leadership to make sure that we understand this is what's going on at the grassroots level, at the ground level.
Mhm.
This is what's going on. It's very, very important. And we have seen, and one of the things I love about one of the companies I work with is they tend to come together twice a year, 3 times a year, and get that feedback, put the groups together, and take that feedback and see what direction we need to go with. So,
It reminds me of really that saying, like, slow down to speed up, right?
yes,
You're not always going 100 miles an hour to your destination. Sometimes you need to slow down to then go even faster, right? Make sure you're on track, because if you're not on track going 100 miles an hour, you're going to be way off course.
I'm reading the book Atomic Habits. Have you come across that?
My husband's reading that right
Listen.
now, actually. He said it's really, really good.
The biggest thing for me says the winners and losers have the same goal. Winners and losers have the same goal. If they both won a championship, that's the same goal.
Right.
Right? It's about the system by James Clear. It's about the system to get there, because you work on your system, you improve your system, you will probably achieve that goal and more. What happens after you achieve that goal is usually you stop. You stop and you're like, okay, what's next? Right? I did that after I got my doctorate. I'm like, what's next? Am I going to publish? Am I going to write?
Yeah.
I'm like, let me start writing something. Let me reach out to you. Let me start talking again, right? Let me share this with others who are thinking about it, like you said. But the whole point of it is that it's about your system that you put in place. So when Ashley talks about slowing down, it's to reassess, because I want to go after that goal so hard sometimes that I forget about all the things that I have to still get accomplished. I want to still be successful after that goal is met, right?
Since you've gotten your doctorate, has it changed your style of leadership?
Yes, it has. You ever heard of the imposter syndrome?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I have
Unfortunately.
played down being a doctor. Yeah, I've played down being a doctor, and then my community has really pushed me upwards, and so that's really helped. Sometimes you seek out your goal for yourself, for your family, and others, and some people feel threatened by that, right?
Yeah.
And I have to not let that speak to me, right? Because I did this for me to improve, but also improve the community I'm around. Right. So what has happened is that I find myself being more out there, trying to be the voice, or a voice, not the voice, but a voice, partnering with a lot of different groups. Right. I find that for my teams in particular, I have more teams that I do manage. I want to be that example, that pillar, that exemplar to say, you know what, you're not too old to go back to school. My wife went back to school after 30 years. She just got an associate's, right? And so we're just going to continue doing that, just inspiring, motivating people to be better than where they are right now.
Right.
So that's what's changed for me.
So all of the hundreds of people that you manage or mentor, right? Are they all over the world currently now, or just in the U.S.?
They're all in Florida. Yeah, they're all in Florida right now. Yeah.
So how have you been able to lead those individuals and mentor them and guide them? I mean, because I'm sure some of it's been hard. Like you've probably had some really hard times with some employees.
Yeah, absolutely. Change is inevitable, and change is not something that people favor at all. Right. So coming into some of the departments I have, you would find that people are like, why, okay, what's going to happen now? What's the new change? Different things like that. And one of the things we studied in school is about specifically in change management, organizational change management, and different aspects of change. And it's really to bring people along, trying to vet what the concerns really are. Maybe they had bad leadership experience in the past, right? But to answer your question, how am I able to do that? Developing a good bench strength. So my bench strength is my frontline leaders, my managers and supervisors, right? So developing that bench strength, share what I know. We share a lot of, sometimes we have a call and we just share a video, a YouTube video or a TED Talk, right? And we take that and we take it right down to the team. So sometimes there are platforms, you remember LinkedIn Learning, right? So it was Linda something back in the day. But we take platforms to them so they could continue bring themselves up. One of the companies I worked for a while back in Tampa, when we were moving into that digital transformation space, folks were people like, oh, computers going to take our jobs and different things like that. And so what the company did is they went into gamification and brought the tools. And every Friday you would play this game, right? Across the company, you play this game, having studied throughout the week about machine learning, about AI, about 3D printing, different things like that, and then they'll test you on it, right? And so that way they increase their bench strength. So I took that same thing to where I am right now, whereby I'm always increasing the bench strength, the frontline managers and supervisors, making sure they have the information that they need to pass on to the team, right? So make sure incorporate that servant leadership to consider them as well. And take care of their needs. If it's salary and compensation, obviously you want to see what it is, see what the market says. We work with your compensation team and different things like. But usually we find that it's a purpose. Once you understand your purpose, then you can connect to that. You can connect to your company much faster.
I feel like that's a great characteristic of a good leader is trusting and helping the leaders, other leaders and leaders that report to you to be better leaders and to manage better. And I feel like that's hard for a lot of people to kind of like hand over the reins and like trust your other managers or employees to do what they need to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you had to learn, or is it the natural, like you're just a natural servant leader? No,
going back to what Ashley said, how do you do it, right? So show me your friends, I'll tell you who you are. So the other thing too is, that trust. You have to believe. You just can't blatantly trust everyone. I told my team, I do not trust you guys. I don't know you. How can I trust? Mm-hmm. What are you saying behind my back? And one of my recent managers told me, because I asked a question to everyone, and he said, if you ask me, I can ask the team and you'll get one answer much faster. And it bothered me, but he was right. He was right, because we've been working together for a while to build that trust. And here I am just going on to everyone. He's like, give him the opportunity to grab the reins, because what I really need to be doing is something probably greater for the entire organization and in my entire department. And but he was right. But that feeling of like, giving over that reins is like absence of control, right? And I said, okay, I had to check myself. Mm-hmm. But we built that trust that he was checking me. I didn't know he was. And I allowed it to sit in. And I was like, okay, he's right.
Yeah.
He's right.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was wondering, how the heck do you do it all, right? Like hundreds of employees, you're mentoring them all, you're mentoring the managers, and then like, what are you doing for work? Like where's your production? So yeah, that makes sense. Like giving those managers the reins so that you could do greater things.
Because you see, seen in many organizations, managers tend to be, managers, leaders, they tend to be in their office doing the administrative stuff. And the one thing about that leadership is about, you have to have that connection. You have to have that connection. So to me, we have a hybrid workforce. One of the teams are hybrid, the other one is fully on site. And I tend to try to drop by at each site. They're all over Orlando. I try to drop by and say hi, bring a meal. Food is always good.
Food is always good.
Food is always good. And we just try to have a lot of different volunteering. We do a lot more volunteering than ever before in those departments, just to make sure we can all come together and for a common good, right? And that is really that purpose I was talking about. That is really what has helped turn around the department from how they perceive themselves or how they're perceived by others to now, we're just sorry. We're
He's
just
very passionate about that.
yeah.
Banging on the
We're
table.
just as valuable, or we can have such as a great value to add just as anyone else.
Mhm. I
Just
see
as
what you
where
did
we
there
are,
with
yeah.
the turnaround thing. That
Yeah,
was clever.
exactly.
I like that.
Yes, I'm hitting it.
Is it difficult managing people from all different backgrounds and ages, and just, with the differences?
Yeah, the generations too.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have like 4 different generations you're managing.
He's
Yeah.
not that old.
No, not like,
I'm just kidding.
not like younger than you, just all kinds of generations.
Thanks, Steph. It is difficult, but not impossible. It's difficult, it's not impossible, because things, we have kids, right? Well, I have grown kids now, but little things like, somebody having to take time off because their kid is sick, versus someone who doesn't have any kids, and they're in their 20s and they're not going to college and probably always at work, right? But the ones who have kids, they may be always on time. But the ones who are in college, they may be struggling to get in on time, right? So it's difficult, but not impossible. And one of my leaders, an HR leader, said one time, you call people top performers because of metrics and the delivery, but if they can't come in on time, how are they a top performer? Because that's one of the things you have to show up on time. Right. And when we took that back to the team, some people were like a little bit, what are you trying to do? But they understood, because you're an exemplar in every area.
Mhm.
So it's difficult, but not impossible. We just have to, for each situation, we have to manage it differently, but consistently, to meet the standards and what the policies are.
Great. Well, I want to get back to that in a minute, because we have a little surprise for you. Well, you know about it, but you don't know the questions we're going to ask you. But it goes back to that kind of connecting with the different generations and really understanding them. But is there anything that we haven't talked about already about turnaround leadership that you want to talk about, or you would like to say to our listeners?
Right. So the turnaround leadership, just as in emotional intelligence as well, you have to understand yourself. You understand what you're capable of doing. So if I know I'm one generation and I'm 2, 3 generations removed from who I'm managing, I have to know what they're about, right? And I have to be willing to share what I am about, right? So we have that understanding you, by understanding me, by understanding you, from an EI perspective. That's important. And again, if you realize that you're not making inroads with certain employees, or in terms of how your organization, how your department is moving, you have to be willing to be vulnerable. And you'll see me be vulnerable today, right? In a little bit. You have to be willing to be vulnerable with your folks, and then you'll get a lot more support that way. So for me, turnaround leadership is really about, it's not just turning the organization around and pivoting to build that revenue, right? That's part of it as well. But to me, we talk about employee experience and customer experience. When I came into, just by the way they answer the phone changed, right? Thank you for calling, or thank you for choosing, right? And you open it up and you brand it that way. That way it's more inclusive, right? The customer gets a good experience, and then you feel part of the bigger picture. So looking at little things to turn around to see that bigger reward, just like in the book Atomic Habits, right? Little changes, right? Little changes will cause a big shift, a big atomic shift.
I love that. Thank you, Gary.
You're welcome.
All right, on to next.
I'm excited.
So
you don't know, do you?
I don't know.
So we wanted to ask Gary, being a leader, you have to connect with all different ages, and with that younger generation, there's some terms in these days in 2023 that I don't even know.
That makes me feel bad.
But we want to see how much you know.
Okay.
All right. And I feel like this one's pretty easy, but what about what does bougie mean?
Bougie. See, it's like the old has become the new. Bougie is thinking you're all that, thinking you're all about the bling and, you like expensive things. You like to show out, show well. That's what bougie meant back in the day. Is it the same?
I think so.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the same.
I mean, I still mean it that way.
Yeah. If someone is being extra, what does that mean?
My son says that to me all the
That
time.
you're extra?
I'm extra. This is the context you use it. I'm like, did you wash the dishes? No. And I would go on. It's like, did I not tell you? So why you have to be so extra? Right? Why you have to be extra? So why you have to add more? Okay, I'll wash it, in time. No, it has to be now. Why are you so extra?
Oh my gosh.
So
Because you didn't do what I asked. That's why I'm
exactly in
gonna
that
be
time,
extra.
and you still live here. So the laws could change at some time. But is that correct? Extra?
That is correct.
All right.
Good job. What if someone is salty? I feel like that one's pretty easy.
My son is 21, so he uses that as well, right? So, so salty is along the same lines, right? If I come in and something is not done in the home or whatever, it's like, did you have a bad day? Did you not sleep? Did you not eat or whatever? Why are you so salty? So, being persnickety, I guess with how I would describe that, or being upset, mad, disgruntled. Am I correct?
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly correct. What's a vibe check?
Again, the old is becoming you. Your vibe, your mood. What's your mood like? What are you feeling? You want to be alone? You want to be, you want to be go out there and do something? What you feeling for? Vibe check could be for my wife and I. Are we going downtown Disney to listen to some music, or are we just gonna stay home and watch Netflix? Right. So vibe check is a checking with your mood to see, what's going on.
Yeah, you are like really on top of these. We'll do one more because I feel like you know all of these. Rent free.
Rent free is my current situation with my 20-year-old son.
Say that.
Right, that's rent free right there. Nothing else to be said.
Okay, very good. You get 100% on those.
What other questions you got in there?
I mean, I feel like they're all along the same lines, and Gary's at like 100%. Yeah, so
ask something else. Go one more.
Okay, one more.
Ask Ashley.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm gonna fail.
Ashley, bussin'.
Dude, I don't know. What is bussin'?
Bussin' would be that's all right. That's good to go. That's
bussin'.
This food is bussin' right here. Yeah.
Very good.
Let's go.
All right. Maybe if they used it in context, I would get it.
Right.
I'd feel the vibe.
Like that coffee is bussin'.
Yeah. The example here is those potato chips are bussin'.
Got it.
So exactly right. Wow.
Hey, you're good. I need to brush up. I am not cool.
You're cool. Just
know you know one.
Yeah. All right. We have one more surprise.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm very excited about this because on top of everything that you do and everything, like you're just amazing to me, because I know we mentioned this before, you're a black belt in martial arts. 4th degree
black belt. I just got another thing that's happened. I just got another black belt in Krav Maga. Krav Maga, yeah.
Wow.
Just got that.
Like in all your free time, you have time.
Right.
You need
get
it.
some black belts and but you've also been learning another skill.
Yes. Can we talk about it?
Yeah.
If I say it, I'm gonna say it wrong because I already said it wrong earlier.
So I have picked up the electric bass in the last 9 months, and I tried all this, the whole home stuff, right? The online subscription. I'd pick it up, put it down, pick it up, pick it out, put it down, and then picked up Atomic Habits. Talk to you guys, and you guys put a challenge out there. You put a goal out there. So I put a system in place for the last 7 to 8 days of playing every day. I've also picked up a real instructor as well, and so he
all because of the challenge that we gave you?
Well, I was doing it with him, and then you told me what a challenge. I said, okay, I need to learn something. I need to learn something. He's like, but you're not there. I said, you don't understand. I'm not backing down at all. I have to do it. And he gave it to me, and I sent it to you, right? He gave it to me, and I could not get it. And I went back in, and he's like, Ka-chuk, 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 ka-chuk. He just did that. I said, okay, I think I got it now. It just clicked. But I had to practice every day. So what I mentioned as well too in terms of leadership is sometimes about stepping back to go faster. My stepping back is my martial arts. My stepping back is picking up the bass, because martial arts is people, and with the bass is just me in my office, soon to be studio like this, hopefully. But it's just to be able to do that. When you get it, you get it.
Yeah.
When you get it, you get it. So I'll play something.
Yes,
Okay.
please. We're excited about this.
All right. Please subscribe if you like this, so we can continue.
Yes,
to
like
we want
that.
Thank you.
feedback. Like, subscribe. Let us know if you want to hear more of Gary.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So like I said, just really 7 days learning this, and so this is me being vulnerable. This is a leader being vulnerable right now.
Love it.
All right.
That's amazing.
I was watching your fingers the whole time going, how?
Do you don't understand? That's 7 days. I've been trying that for 9 months to get it like
Wow.
that.
That was
But
great.
is it okay?
Yeah.
That was awesome. Are you kidding?
So I think with a little bit more practice, we'll get to where we
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was great.
Yeah,
And
thank
so, do you sing at all too, or play any other?
No.
Oh man, you're gonna challenge him
No.
more?
Next time we have you on, we want you to sing with us.
I realize I'm gonna have to hold things back from you guys.
Oh, all right. Okay, Gary, this has been so much fun.
I love it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard him first. You've heard him here first.
Mhm.
Dr. Gary Montoute on the bass guitar. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank
This
you for
is-
having me. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure. And like I said, best of success to both of you guys, 100 plus episodes. So, we'd love to come back on again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we'll keep-
whenever we're at 238,
Yeah.
have you back in a year from now, and I'm sure by then you'll be playing hold songs.
Yeah.
That would be
Singing and
impressive.
dancing
That
with
would be
it.
impressive. Yeah.
And dancing. She already added
That
all
would be
these.
impressive. Yeah. We'll do all that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you again to all of our listeners, and until next time.
Live bold and boss up.